In 2014, general manager AJ Preller introduced a new way to team building for San Diego. He's been their GM for 10 years, and he's made many big moves, such as signing Eric Hosmer on an 8-year, $144 million deal. Preller has never shied away from making the big move, whether it's unpopular or whether it be popular. AJ has had one goal of winning the World Series. He's made many good moves, like Manny Machado, but he's also made some very bad moves, like Eric Hosmer. But after getting through all the wrinkles, the Padres were a playoff team in 2020. It was, of course, their first appearance in 15 years, so this was big news, and Padres fans were as happy as can be. But unfortunately, they fell short to the LA Dodgers. The positive note is that they were back, and Preller was not about to sit around and watch his team lose again. So heading into the 2021 offseason, the Padres made many pitching additions. On December 30th of 2020, the Padres traded for Blake Snell from Tampa Bay. Snell was Tampa's ace, the best pitcher of their rotation. So the Padres adding such an arm was huge, and then later that day, they also ended up getting Yu Darvish from the Chicago Cubs. Snell was a Cy Young winner a few years ago, and Darvish was a Cy Young finalist a few years ago. Both of them had playoff experience, so having those two at the top of their rotation was going to be deadly. The last big move that they made was Pirates pitcher Joe Musgrove. This was their version of sending all of their ammo for a World Series, but only if it was that easy. The Padres somehow missed the playoffs in 2021 with a 79-83 record. Ultimately, they didn't choose to make a splash in the offseason going into 2022. But at the trade deadline in 2022, they certainly did do something huge.
Juan Soto and Josh Bell are headed to the San Diego Padres. They are going out west. Jeff Passan with all the details. Look at these names.
They now had another superstar in their lineup with Juan Soto. Soto was known for his incredible home run power, plate discipline, and good batting averages. The Padres lineup desperately needed a lefty, so Soto would end up filling in that hole. He also provided 1 year of postseason experience in 2019. If you remember how good his run was that year, I mean, he was a beast. Providing a .277 average, 5 homers, .554 slugging, and a .927 OPS. For a team like the Padres that needed postseason experience, Soto was only going to be adding on to that. And the Padres later even made the playoffs with an 89-73 record. Musgrove, Snell, and Darvish all pitched very well that year. As for Juan Soto, he somewhat slumped in his 182 at-bats that he had, but they had to move past the struggles and find a way to win in the playoffs. After defeating the Mets and after defeating the Dodgers, they had to face a super hot Phillies team. Philadelphia won the series 4-1. Either way, the Padres were determined to come back in 2023 better than ever. After putting up a $255 million payroll, the Padres were almost bound to get better. Blake Snell won the Cy Young in 23. Soto was an animal, but they were somehow worse than they were in the previous season with an 82-80 record. A lot of things went wrong for the Padres, so they needed to make moves and change up this roster drastically. A lot like today's sponsor, Rival Fantasy, who created a new experience in fantasy baseball. It's called Best Ball. You draft your team once a week, and a rival will do the rest. Your starting lineup will be automatically adjusted to your top scores for the week. Let's say that you're a busy person, and you don't have that much time to go and manage your team. Well, that would be good news for you, because you no longer have to invest your time into roster management. All you have to do is draft weekly. Oh, and did I mention that you will win free money if you are a top 3 performer in your league? There are 6-team drafts, 9-team drafts, and even more. Make sure to sign up using the link in the description to get $25 for free to spend on Rival Fantasy. Enjoy the rest of the video. Whether they liked it or not, they lost a lot of talent. Blake Snell was a free agent along with many other starters like Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo. The only rotation arms that were truly left were Darvish and Musgrove. Revamping the rotation did not seem super likely, because re-signing a player like Snell would be unaffordable. Unfortunately, their owner passed away in November of 2023. An awful experience for his family and an awful experience for the organization as a whole. Not to mention, Juan Soto only had 1 year left on his deal, and honestly, I was unsure on how AJ Preller would handle this. Could you actually extend Juan Soto? Well, even if you did, how do you fix the rest of the holes on the team? Well, Preller came to the conclusion that trading Soto would be what's best. And the New York Yankees were all over Soto, and they were willing to trade an entire package of pitching. Preller saw the opportunity, and it happened. Soto was going to be located in the Bronx from now on. As for the Padres package, they would get 4 pitchers in return. My favorite pitcher from the entire bunch was a 28-year-old Michael King. He was a bullpen arm with the Yankees for a long time, and as a reliever, he had a 3.08 ERA and 40 appearances. But as a starter last year, he had a 2.23 ERA and 9 appearances. He would slide in very well for this rotation and would only be another arm for them to utilize. The other players they got, like Johnny Brito and Randy Vasquez, are somewhat prospects, but they showed flashes at the MLB level last year. And then the last pitcher that they got was Drew Thorpe, a prospect, and trust me, we will get back to him soon. But in the Padres free agency, they made a few really solid moves, like retooling the bullpen by signing Wandy Peralta and Yuki Matsui. The roster was certainly being upgraded with new players for hopefully a new roster to be constructed. But compared to the Dodgers or even the Giants, they just weren't quite a playoff team. They were building, but again, not quite there yet. There had been whispers that they had planned on adding someone through the trade market. In recent days, we heard that White Sox pitcher Dylan Cease was popping up in trade conversations. Not too long ago, he was elite with a 2.20 ERA in 2022 and a solid 3.91 in 2021. The problem is that the asking price was very high. Teams like the Braves and the Yankees wanted him badly, but they simply backed out in negotiations because of what the White Sox were asking for. But recently, this happened.
Breaking, the San Diego Padres are finalizing a trade to acquire right-hander Dylan Cease from the Chicago White Sox, sources telling ESPN.
Cease became a San Diego Padre, and he fits in perfectly because he's always healthy and he's a good player overall. This, to me, puts the Padres in the wildcard conversation. 2023 allowed the team to build chemistry. 2024, they added along more talent and more star power. The rotation is now Darvish, Musgrove, Cease, King, and the 5th spot is up for grabs. It could be Brito, Vasquez, really anyone. The goal with this overall trade was to get better, and that's what Dylan Cease does for them. He makes them better. The pieces that they traded away were minor league talents, so, overall, it ain't that bad for the Padres. They sent the White Sox 4 players in return, and the best one was Drew Thorpe, the man who was sent here for Juan Soto. Thorpe was the minor league prospect of the year last season with a 2.52 ERA. I would call this a big loss if it was not Dylan Cease who they got in return. The Padres also sent prospect Jairo Iriarte to the White Sox. He was the Padres' number 8 prospect in the system, and he's expected to be up in 2024. The last prospect that they sent was Samuel Zavala. In 745 minor league at-bats, he has 25 home runs and an 841 OPS. And for the last player in the trade, it was reliever Steven Wilson, who pitched a 3.91 ERA at the MLB level last year. This trade to me is pretty even on both sides. One team improves the pipeline, and the other improves their win total for 2024. Say what you want about AJ Preller, but he is certainly always making the moves that fans want. AJ Preller built the ultimate rotation in 2024. I give him credit with all the adversity that he was facing. Anyways, if you did enjoy, please subscribe. If not, thanks for watching anyway, and peace out.